Before we get into this crazy project of a video, don't forget that my Black Friday release is on the merch shop. It is the most adorable Switch case for the Switch 2 and the original Switch, and it is on sale only until Cyber Monday, so go grab it while it's on sale. This will be the perfect Christmas gift, hint hint. So check it out. My merch links are down below. Really hope that you guys enjoy them. I love this design so much, so go ahead and check it out. Have you ever had a dream, an idea that only ever seemed like it would be a fantasy? A dream so large and so ambitious that you question yourself, is this even possible? Should I just let dreams be dreams? Or do you undertake a ridiculous and outrageous project that pushes the boundaries of your very mind and creativity and what you even thought was humanly possible for mankind to create with their hands? Because that's what I did for this video, you know. Like, no big deal. You know, you could like subscribe or something for more cool projects that, you know, push the boundaries of humankind and creativity if you want. Like, I guess that'd be nice. And like the video too, that'd be great. I have made quite a bit of crochet content here on the channel over the years. It is my favorite hobby ever. It is the one I've been doing for the longest, and it's one that you guys also really seem to enjoy. And I always try to push myself and make unique and really silly projects that are hopefully really fun for you guys to watch, like making a blanket out of squishmallows or making a purse with only $1 store items. But I think that today's video tops them all. Now, I have made mini froggy chair plushies on this channel before. I made a whole video seeing how many I could make in a day. But for years, I have dreamed of crocheting a life-size froggy chair that I could actually sit on and actually use as a chair. The logistics of this idea, however, is what has been stopping me from letting this be anything more than a passing thought in my brain. How the heck could I make that big of a chair with just yarn, and how the heck would it even support my weight? It wasn't until I saw this video on TikTok with an artist making a giant pony sculpture with only crochet and yarn and stuffing, and I instantly knew what I could do. They used a wooden support system inside of their crochet project to help support it, and, you know, stuffed all around the wood and everything like that, and that helped it stand up and not just be floppy. And it was like a light bulb went off in my head. Now I knew the logistics of this project, and I knew what I could do to actually make it happen. And it's all thanks to the froggy chair. All right, yeah, that's the video. Here's the froggy chair. Yep, so subscribe. Thanks for watching. That's gonna be it. That's it. I hope you liked this froggy chair video. Okay, just kidding, obviously, but my $1 million idea was to take a chair. It's a kid's chair, yes, and use this as kind of like the skeleton for the giant froggy chair. And it just so happened that it is a frog-shaped chair, which is so funny. Like, what is the coincidence of that? So now the idea is simple. I just have to crochet a giant froggy chair and put that kid's chair inside of it. The froggy chair legs in Animal Crossing have this distinct arch, so this kid's chair was the most similarly shaped that I could find on Amazon that could ship to me in a reasonable time. So first, I'm starting off with the legs. Now let's get into some actual crocheting here. That was a very long-winded intro. So honestly, I needed to make the shape right for these, and I had 4 of them to do, so I actually had to write down a pattern for myself that could be replicated. So just honestly, this was the longest part, and I just really wanted to get it over with because it was going to take me forever. So we're starting with the legs just because I purely want to get it over with. As for materials, I am using this very thick, chunky yarn. This is from the brand Lion brand, and it is called Hometown. I'm also using a 9mm crochet hook, and with these two things combined, this makes for a very thick piece and a very large stitch. So basically, big hook plus big yarn equals big piece, which equals it works up and crochets up faster. So I'm giving each leg a flat base at the bottom since they're going to be sitting on the floor. You can easily do this by starting with a flat shape and then crocheting around in the back loops only, and then switching to working in the round from there. Then I was trying to slowly taper each leg as I got to the top, since the legs of the froggy chair are much wider at the bottom than they are at the top. I'm also crocheting in joined rounds for the legs so that they will be even once I get to the top. So I'm ending each round with a slip stitch and starting each round by chaining one and crocheting in the same stitch. This method does leave a visible seam on your project, but I tried to keep it just like on one side so that once I attach everything to the chair, you won't really see it. And while I was finishing up this one, I started thinking about what part I was going to work on next. We have the seat and the inner seat part and the eye/backrest part. I knew the seat was gonna be easy, so do I wanna just get that out of the way, or do I try to get the backrest done instead, which I knew was gonna be a little trickier, and that's a bigger piece, so it's gonna take a little bit longer. We'll let past me think about that while I show you the completed froggy chair legs. Look at these bad boys. Oh yeah, we've got 4 legs. Incredible, incredible. You know what? These look like these could be My Little Pony legs. Do you see the vision? Do you see the vision? They're walking through Equestria, guys. So for the next piece, I did decide to start working on the backrest and just get that over with. I knew I was gonna make the 2 eye parts first and then work from there down to create the backrest. So starting off with the first eye, all I needed to do was make a little dome shape. So I quickly whipped that up, and then we're gonna just move on to the next one, and then I'm going to be connecting these and then crocheting in the round all around both of those pieces and their connection part, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain things. I can see it in my mind, and I'm like, I know this is how I make the construction of this piece. Do I know how to explain this to people? No. So hopefully by you watching the video of me doing it, you can kind of see what I mean. I'm really terrible at explaining it, but hopefully you get it. So to connect the 2 domes, all I'm gonna do is still take my working yarn from the second dome that I finished and chain a couple of chains. Now, first I started off with 10, and I was, connecting it to the second dome and measuring it against the froggy chair, and it was too much. The gap was too wide, it was gonna be too large of a backrest. I think I ended up doing like chain 5. It was only like 5 chains to connect them. So once I have the chain 5 on my hook, I just single crochet into the next dome, and then I just start working all around the perimeter of that. And then once you get back to the chain, you just start working down the chain as well, crochet around the perimeter of the second dome, and then work across the other side of that chain, and then you get back to that initial connection single crochet that you did. I did hit this little snag where there was this weird puffy section of the yarn, and this was super annoying. Also, on one of the skeins of yarn later in the project, there was like 2 knots in the yarn, and if you're a crocheter or if you work with yarn at all, you know how annoying these things are. Like, why are there knots in my yarn? This is actually insane. And also the yarn was working up really quickly, like I said earlier, but I was starting to get scared that it was running out too fast and I wasn't gonna have enough. Thankfully, spoiler alert, I actually had a lot left over. I ordered way too much yarn for this project, but I was really scared, and that's always a really big fear when it comes to crochet projects. Like, am I not gonna have enough? Am I gonna have to order more or go to the store? Like, just so anxiety inducing. So anyway, after connecting the domes, you just literally work in the round over and over and over again. So I wanted to slightly taper in the backrest just a little bit, because that's how it is in the game. So I would crochet 2 rows and then decrease twice for a row, and then crochet 2 rows again of just single crochet, no decreases. And that's what I did. So just decreasing every 2 rows over and over and over again, and that seemed to work out pretty well. I think I got the shape down okay. It's very hard to just kind of wing it, and to be honest, I'm not a very big person who likes to rewind their work. If I make a mistake that's really bad, like really obvious that you would notice, I will undo my work. But if I make a mistake and it's not that obvious, I will leave it in there 100% of the time. So I was just kind of winging it for the shape of this backrest and just really hoping that my techniques and my decreasing was going to actually translate to the shape that I have in my head, what the froggy chair actually looks like. And thankfully, I think it kind of worked out. I mean, the froggy chair is so iconic that you don't really have to get the shape down exactly. You just kind of have to have the general look of it, and then everybody instantly knows what it is. So I wasn't like too stressed about it. I kept doing like little measurement checks. I would put the backrest over top of the backrest of the actual kids chair and just see, was it finally reaching like the seat part yet? Do I need to make it bigger, At one point, I put on a YouTube video and just went at it, crocheting over and over, like round after round, and I actually made the backrest way too long. So I had to actually like take out some rows, because I was going too crazy. I was going too crazy making too many rows, but we finally got it all figured out. and it fit perfectly once I put it in the backrest. I did leave like a little tiny gap at the bottom. It wasn't like fully touching the seat because I knew I was going to have the seat pad on there, and I thought that would add some thickness, and plus like I could always stretch the yarn, and I think it looks better to be stretched and pulled versus like too baggy and too loose because I added like too much fabric, you know. So I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel here, and we only have a couple pieces left, actually exactly a couple left, only 2 pieces left. And to be honest, this is the most boring part because it's just making 2 giant circles. I'm really trying my best to make this video interesting because for a lot of my crochet videos, I don't know what to say or show besides like I make single crochet stitch over and over. That's the whole video. And this whole project just felt like, okay, I'm just crocheting one giant piece and that's what I'm doing. Stitch after stitch after stitch. It's the same thing over and over. So for the seat part on the regular froggy chair, it does have a light green middle part, but it still has that outer edge being the same solid color green that the rest of the chair is. So I decided to make 2 separate pieces because when I was looking online for the light green, I couldn't find one in the same thickness or even the same like exact yarn that I got as that green yarn. So I could only find thinner yarn, and if I were to start with that green yarn and then connect the darker green yarn onto like a smaller thickness, I don't know how to explain it again, but it just wouldn't really look good. If you're gonna connect yarns like that, they need to be relatively the same thickness. So really, I didn't decide to make 2 pieces. That was my only option. So that's what we're going with. So I just made the seat pad, and I was truly questioning what the actual construction of this was gonna be. Was I gonna bring the seat pad all the way underneath of the chair? Was I gonna have to take off the legs and like drill through the fabric of my crochet project to like reconnect the legs? You know what I mean? Like, how is this gonna work? I had no idea. I was kind of panicking about the seat part, but thankfully it just fits right on top perfectly. So this is what it ended up looking like. It's pretty large, pretty big, and it has one little decrease round to make the edges kind of like more cupping over the side, if that makes sense. So when I put it on the seat, it fits perfectly, so it goes right to the edge here. It does not go underneath, as you can see, but it still covers the side. I didn't want the sides of the actual chair to be visible at all, so it actually just works out perfectly. Like, I don't think I even have to really attach it. Maybe I'll like put some hot glue in there or something, but it can just rest right on top and it's perfectly fine. So those are all of the pieces. We've got the backrest and the legs and all of the seat components. So I think we're just about ready now to get started with sewing. All right, we've got the froggy chair. I'm gonna start off by just putting all of the pieces on because I just want to see what it looks like with everything attached. I feel like we're actually going to get the full picture of what this is finally going to look like here. What's nice is that the little like flat part in between the eyes on the actual chair lines up perfectly with the flat part of the crochet part. So it kind of like fully supports it. And I'm also going to be stuffing this just so it's not so like, you know, like that. Okay, I was gonna start with the legs, but actually that's not really working. So let's start with the seat rest first. It already looks like froggy chair. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, looking at this in my camera viewfinder, this is just froggy chair. This is crazy. This is crazy. I don't think I'm gonna put on the back legs because we kind of get the idea. But now I think the next tricky part is gonna be stuffing the legs because this will be easy to stuff, I think. But the legs are gonna be a little bit tricky. Let's start off with that because I just want to get the hard part out of the way. As you know, I just love to do that. And you know what? I'm gonna say, just kidding once again, and we actually are gonna put all 4 legs on. Now, I have a bunch of Squishmallow stuffing left over from past Squishmallow projects, and I'm gonna be utilizing this for our froggy chair project. So we're gonna need some sort of long stick to get down in here. I'm gonna try using this very large crochet hook and see if that works. But I think to get down in here, I'm gonna have to kind of just scooch it down so we can actually push it straight in there, if that makes any sense, like this. And I actually think we will need a larger stuffing stick. So 1 second. Larger stick is acquired. I don't know why I didn't just start with this, but that's okay. All right, let's push this stuffing down in there. It's looking pretty shapely. That's pretty good. That's not bad. It's a little bit lumpy, but it's really hard to get it smooth when all I have is like this stick, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna work on the rest of these really quick and I will check back in once they're all stuffed. Okay, I just finished stuffing the legs. Here's what it's looking like. It's actually looking like froggy chair. This is crazy. I tried my best to make them all like evenly stuffed. They may not be very even, but hey, I tried, okay? This was really difficult to do, actually. So yeah, here is all 4 of the legs. We've got the back ones. They're looking pretty good. A little uneven, but that's okay. And then thankfully, I don't really notice like the seams that were on these pieces. You can kind of see this one right here, but whatever, it's fine. So yeah, it's looking so good so far. So next, I'm just gonna go ahead and put the seat right on top. And I'm gonna kind of just make sure these are pulled back. That way the fabric can rest like right here on the little crevice. So we'll just get everything smoothed out. There we go. Okay, so there's that. And now I can kind of pull the legs up and these can be sewn straight to this pad. But I think what I'm going to do next is put the backrest on and then start stuffing that. I think what I have to do is at least stuff the eye areas first before I put it on. I don't know, or it might just be tricky regardless, but I think at least it'll be good to do these first. Okay, there it is, kind of stuffed. It's looking a little funny, but I'm gonna go ahead and slip this on over. I'm gonna keep this like part of the chair kind of more towards the front, like touching this front part. And there's a lot more stuffing like that's gonna be behind it, if that makes sense. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Finishing the stuffing of this is gonna be a little bit tricky because what if it just like falls right out? I'm gonna attempt to stuff this. I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, somehow that worked. And up until now, we have not really had any issues. You know, I've had some fears of like, how is this gonna work? But it's been working out for the most part. Now is when I think we actually have an issue. So if we turn the froggy chair around, his butt is open. His butt is exposed, right? So the front is gonna be sewn to the chair pad, but what is the back gonna be sewn to? I can't just have this be open. I don't know what to do. I may have to get some extra yarn and like crochet like some sort of little cover and then bring it here. I don't really know. But I think I just want to first sew the front of it to the chair pad just so I don't know, kind of know what I'm working with a little bit more. So I'm gonna grab a yarn needle and we're gonna get to sewing. We are nearly there, guys. We are nearly there. Okay, honestly, sewing all of these pieces together was kind of satisfying, and it's really satisfying watching it back on like 5 times speed like this. It was fun. It was fun. I actually had fun sewing for once, and if you've watched some of my crochet videos before on this channel, you'll know that I actually despise sewing. I really do, but it was really fun. I don't know, maybe it was because the stitches are so large. I'm not used to sewing these big of pieces, but just like it was fun. I don't know, I really enjoyed it. So I started with the backrest just to kind of like secure that, and then I went to each of the legs, and then I did end up doing what I said. I just crocheted directly onto like the bottom of the backrest here, and I just did some double crochet decreases to kind of like cinch in that back part and to give it a little more extra fabric just so I could reach to that other side. As you can see, I'm sewing it to like actually I don't know what part that is. I think it's this the seat rest, the seat pad. I don't really know. I was sewing it to something though. It got sewn on there. That's all that really matters. And then I'm actually gonna put some hot glue on the seat of the chair just so everything wouldn't kind of be like slippy slidey around, because otherwise there was nothing really holding all of this to the chair, like the seat part. And then I did not end up sewing this piece on. I was like, you know what, the hot glue gun's out already, I might as well just hot glue it on. I love hot glue so much. I only burned myself once, so that was great. And then I just quickly cut out the pieces for the face with felt, and we're just gonna stick those on there. And I'm so ready for this grand reveal because it came out so good, you guys. So good. Introducing the real life froggy chair. This froggy chair comes equipped with real support in it, so you can actually sit on it. I think personally this is one of the best things I've ever really truly made in my entire life, and I don't know if my technical or creative skill can be topped from here. You know, that's all I can really say. Let me know what you think of my froggy chair down below. I'm gonna go pass out because I've been working on this all day and I feel like I'm going crazy. But that's just the usual around here. So thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Once again, don't forget to check out my Switch case, only on sale until Cyber Monday, so don't miss out. I will not be using any normal chairs from here on out. I will always be sitting on my froggy chair. So thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.